All right, so here is our data table. So just to kind of get us caught up, we should be all set with row 1, the rice. We should be all set with the whole milk and the egg whites. The honey, I'm going to ask you to do something a little bit different with the honey. I first want you to make predictions. Do you think there's starch? Do you think there's sugar? Do you think there's protein? And do you think there's fat? Once you've made your prediction, I want you to take a couple of minutes to take a look to see if you can find out what these test results would be. And you can use the internet to look that up. There's plenty of information on that. So go ahead, take a look at those, and then we'll discuss those a little bit later to see what you all found. All right, so our next item that I'm going to be testing is our butter. And so I'd like you to take a couple of moments and to create your predictions or record your predictions for starch, for glucose, sugar, protein, and fats. What are we going to find in our butter? And while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and fill these vials.
Okay.
All right, so here's our butter in the vials. It's kind of a yellowish color. I think most of us have experienced butter probably melted in some sort of way. So that's what I needed to do with that so that I could test it, is to melt it. So I'm going to go ahead and open this vial. We've all done our predictions, right? I'm hoping, because now we're watching this. All right, so iodine, we're working with our starch test. We're going to drop that in there, see if it changes. Still looks pretty gold to me. So no starch. Okay, our next one will be Benedict's solution, okay? And that's blue. Remember, we got to put that in a hot water bath to find out if it has sugar in it. So get a couple drops in there. Close this up. Shake it up. Oh, it's already kind of green. So let's see what happens with that. Our next is going to be our Burette solution, or our Burette solution. That's also light blue, okay? We're going to put that in there. Remember, we're looking for protein. Shake that up pretty good. And it's looking kind of greenish, maybe, and it may be coming out kind of greenish because the butter is yellow and the Burette solution is blue, okay? But we'll leave that sit there for a moment just to see if anything's changing. Let's do a quick little check on our... And I think I need to stir this up because I think it separates. Okay, we're still looking kind of green, so let me pop that back in there for a moment. All right, let's do our Sudan test, which is for fat, okay? All right, and I'm thinking that looks pretty bright red there. It's pretty good with the red. And let me shake this up one more time. Yeah.
So that means there's fat in there too.
No protein. There is fat, okay? Mm-hmm. There's no starch. And let's pull our item out here. And this is kind of turned green. So since it's green, it's kind of on its way to turning yellow and possibly orange or red. I would say that there's a little bit of sugar in our butter. Okay. Okay, and here we go. The last item that we're going to be testing is water. And so I'd like you to work on your predictions. Does it have starch? Does it have sugar? Does it have protein? Does it have fat in it while I fill these vials? So go ahead, take care of your predictions. I'll get these filled. All right, so hopefully we all have our predictions filled out for starch, sugar, protein, and fat. Does water have any of those items? So let's go ahead and move into our testing. Water is a clear liquid. We can see through it. There's no color. There's nothing to block our seeing through. So looks like it has absolutely nothing in it. So I'll start with our starch test. Okay, I am trying to make sure you guys can see that. Okay, and it's looking like it's staying a gold color. So no starch in our water. The next is our Benedict solution, so we're testing for sugar. Shake that up, we'll put it in our hot water bath, let it sit in there for a couple of minutes. While it does that, I'm gonna open up the burette solution. We're gonna be testing for protein. See if there's any in there. All right, it's still looking pretty clear, pretty light blue on that. All right, our last one is the Sudan test. We're testing for fat in water. Go ahead and put a couple drops in there.
Little dab will do ya.
Yep. All right, and that's looking like the dull maroon color. Okay. All right, so let's see how our hot water bath is going with this. If I can get it out with my very technical spoon here. All right, and that is staying blue. So no sugar in the water either. Okay, so here are the food items that we tested, and we were looking to see if there was starch, sugar, protein, or fat in any of them. So our rice has starch in it, no sugar, no protein, and no fat. Whole milk doesn't have starch. This actually turned a little green, so it's a little different than our original test. You might say there's trace amounts of sugar in our whole milk. There's definitely protein, and it looks like we might have a little bit of fat because that's a much brighter red than the others. Our egg white, no starch. Sugar, that's a purple color, so that's not in our range of sugar. It does have protein, and this looks like the dull maroon, so no fat to that. Butter, no starch. This might be a little bit green, so there might be just a touch of sugar in there. This one did not turn the violet color, so there's no protein in our butter. And for fat, this is definitely a bright red color, okay? Very different than our other reds that are darker. Water, no starch, no sugar, no protein, and no fat.